Hello. Welcome to the Hangout. How's everybody doing?
I wasn't expecting such a curveball of a question.
Yeah, somehow I was completely unprepared.
I'm
Too
good.
real.
No one's ever asked me about my feelings before.
I have complex feels about estate sales. That's where I am right now.
Oh, okay.
I want to go to estate sales. Tell me about those feels.
Well, so there's one that's near where I live now, and it had a bunch of cool pictures. And this weekend I'm going to be up in Seattle, so I'm like, okay, but it's open on Friday. So on Friday, if I can like get off work in time, or I was trying to like figure it out. And then apparently they needed more time to set it up because they've bumped it off a couple weeks. And so now I'm going to be down in California, and I'm like, oh, and I had like planned, like not planned, but I looked at all their pictures and thought, okay, I'll try to find that kind of stuff and those kind of things. And then I was going to my mother and I was like, you like estate sales too? Want to be my proxy? And she's like, well, if it's really crowded, I hate crowd. And I'm like, it's fine.
I mean, move.
I know when I hear it. So now, like, and if I hadn't known the sale existed, I would have just gone about my life. There wasn't anything in there where I'm like, I must have it. But there were some things where I was like, hey, like those seem kind of cool.
I didn't realize they actually
maybe
showed
they're
you
like
ahead
hundreds
of
of
time.
dollars when I get there.
I didn't realize they showed you like ahead of time. Like, is it like an auction type estate sale or?
No, my internet seems to be being stupid. So if I'm choppy, that's why. They on the websites, they'll like take a camera and like take pictures of like each wall in a room. So you're not really getting a really good sense of what's there. You're just sort of seeing like a table laid out with stuff. Can you pick out stuff on it? Kind of. But it gives you like a sense of like, okay, this person collected fine china. And this person like had a whole bunch of faux fur coats or whatever.
I can't wait for 30 years from now, and it's just like, and this person had a full wall of pop figures.
I want to see Aaron's estate sale where it's like there is 5 miniatures of the Catacomb Saints up for grabs.
That would be bitchin'. That's what I want. You know what I want? I want Playmobil to make that set. That's the one I want.
Cool. That would be rad.
I'm on the outs of Playmobil though, because they made a paleontology set and then they labeled it archaeology. And I'm like, and then in it says it's a paleontologist and you can like help him do paleontology. I'm like, exactly. So clearly the copywriters for like the website and the catalog weren't talking to the copywriters for the actual like description
You'll
of
be
it.
hearing from my
Marketing.
department.
It's marketing. Marketing was like, oh, nobody knows what a paleontologist is. Just call it archaeology.
That's bullshit. Because I remember being in first grade and listening to kids have this argument. I want to be an archaeologist. No, you don't. You want to be a paleontologist. That's not what that's what archaeologists do.
I was in kindergarten when Jurassic Park came out. Like I was at some of the peak. Paleontologist is a household word for children.
Okay, but back to my Catacomb Saint collection that I don't have yet, but you know what? If someone wants to give me that, I'm not going to say no. I've showed this before on Concentration Check, but this is my, like, it's like my pencil bowl, and it is very on theme.
Ooh.
Aaron, I love that.
This is like a little worry rock I have.
That's
but
so
I put
good.
it in there. And sometimes I also will give him another eye with one of these guys.
Does he have a name?
No. And sometimes he's not a he. I just,
Okay.
Sometimes it's a she. Whatever I feel like.
Or it could be like Sue the dinosaur. They, them.
Yeah.
Sue is they.
Yeah.
So.
Whatever entity is assuming the skull.
It contains multitudes, my skull. But I love it so.
Yeah.
Please don't give me actual human remains. That's very fraught ethically, so.
Yes.
Yep. Good shout out. Good shout out.
as the archaeologist who has not dealt with them herself, but coworkers have dealt with this. Boy. Oh boy.
So
like
one of our
the word. Oh, go ahead.
so how do you? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I can't remember the specific nouns of my story, but there are some remains that are Kennewick man. That is such a complex thing about who do these remains belong to, that they're basically just locked up because this can't be solved. So like no one can kind of give permission, and I don't know where that's at now, but I know it's something where it's like there are many complex claims, because when you get that old, it's like, well, this is obviously, from a Native American group, but the group that is living on this land now wasn't here when these bones are dated to. But then who was, and then what do we do? It gets very complicated when you're trying to do the right thing, but also it's a lot better than, yo, I found these, look. Which is the way a lot of things go. For example, it is very much the way the Catacomb Saints go. We found the hole. It's fine. We dressed them up. I was very pleased with my translation pun in that PowerPoint that I did not call out, but found it amusing.
So what were you gonna say there, Yang Yang?
I got super. I mean, I have so many thoughts right now because I want to talk about the Mellified Man at some point because that's what Aaron sort of reminded me of, and my brain just got stuck on that. But talk about gifts that I don't know what to do with, but I'm sort of curious about. Anyways, real estate sales, estate sales. So like I got turned on to that by my uncle when we went over to go visit for the holidays. He is like a retired guy, but all he does now is estate sales. And he goes and he specifically goes to like the Chinese ones, and he tries to buy things that are like antiques and to resell them. And so he took us into this room, and it was just full of beautiful things like vases, chairs, tables, plates, just gorgeous, hand painted, handmade. And then he was like, choose one. And so we like looked at everything, and we're like, oh, clearly we should go for like the most expensive one, the best one. And so we looked at all these different things, we compared them, and me and my girlfriend each picked out our favorite. And then he looks at the two of them, and he just shakes his head, and he's just like, yeah, those are the cheapest. You picked out the two cheapest things in this whole room.
Wow. That's so funny.
Yeah, I learned I have no eye for this, but now my girlfriend and I want to start going to estate sales to shop around and develop our eye.
Well, I was going to say, it's just a matter of developing it. So it's interesting. I've started going to them mostly because like they're good for like not just antiques, but like basic housewares. Because if you think like if they have this set of like really nice mixing bowls, like, their heirs probably don't have their own mixing bowls, and so their nice mixing bowls are waiting there for you, as opposed to like a garage sale where like they're keeping their mixing bowls, they're using them, right? But so I had been looking ahead for the weekend, and before stopping at one that was going to be like half price on Sunday, we went to the Goodwill outlet, and that has
weird.
It has a whole coterie of dealers who shop there, and I'm all for it because like it keeps stuff in the ecosystem.
Yeah.
And then they were discussing an estate sale, and not the one we were going to go to. They were discussing like the biggest one in Portland that weekend, and you got to go late, and the good stuff's gone, but you can find some deals, blah blah blah. And I sort of thought about it for a second, and I'm like, I mean, yeah, obviously that Venn diagram is very close to a circle of like the people who shop Goodwill for resale and the people who shop estate sales for resale. So, but I just hadn't thought about it before.
I had when I was a kid, I had two aunts that owned an antique shop. And when I say two aunts, I mean that because I have gay moms, one of these women was one of my mom's ex-partners, who then was referred to as an aunt. Then when they got a partner, I got another aunt, because that's just how lesbian friendships work.
That's amazing.
I'm curious what you would say your total count of aunties is.
That I grew up and hung around with, there was only 4.
Okay.
But like, here's the thing though. I was probably about 14 when I was like, wait a minute. Am I related to them? And they're like, no. And I went, oh, that was never explained to me as a heads up. But I do remember one time being in there, because sometimes I would just go hang out there while one of my moms went and did other stuff. And I remember this one time where my Aunt Kathy was like, your son just has expensive taste. And they played a game where they put stuff out and they went, pick one, and I always picked the more expensive thing.
You have to come with us. You fly up, I will buy you a ticket. Rhiannon and I will get together, we'll all go to the estate sale.
Well, I mean, I can
I'm
tell
gonna record
you
it.
certainly
Yeah.
ceramics. What's older? What doesn't
Oh.
mean more expensive, but I can certainly tell you older and maybe higher quality.
Mm,
Because I can
Cool.
tell porcelain from earthenware like instantly. I think most people can, except that then like people go out in the field and they like record what they found in the site and they mix up porcelain and earthenware, and I'm like,
Mm.
no. So
Yeah, well, we should definitely go at some point.
well, if you're in the Portland area, I'm going to be in California for the first weekend of this big.
Hey, I think you just
estate
found your
sale, but-
proxies, though.
That's right.
But
funny.
they're doing it 3 weekends
Trevor Buddy
supposedly.
comedy
So
estate sale.
Oh boy. I just wanted to
Is
see how
this-
long that silence would go.
I do have a quick question, just because it's really bothering me, and I want to know: is this the same uncle who got the amazing deal on shrimp, or is it a different uncle?
Different uncle,
Okay, so
unfortunately.
I would love if those were the same guy.
Yeah, this uncle, he's pretty cool. Boy, like he owned like one of the original shops in Chinatown in like Washington DC.
Oh, yeah?
And so growing up, we would always go by his place, and he would have like a bunch of like firecrackers and candy and you know, like little knickknacks up front, and then the back would be sort of like a makeshift martial arts studio where people were just like tumbling around and fighting on mats. So while we bought our candy and would watch them brawl. Yeah, it's pretty neat. And in retirement, yeah, all he does is buy and sell antiques. He claims he's done really well. My aunt, she might disagree, but he's happy, and it's his, you know, it's his new retirement thing.
well, I mean, I had a friend where he would play in poker tournaments, and he had one of those like mathematical minds where he could do pretty well with the sort of betting strategies and counting points and whatever that you're supposed to do. And so to sort of keep himself from going too far, he would keep this like ledger of his winnings and, you know, hands at every tournament and whatever. And so he was like filling that out after a tournament one time. And I think that he consistently came out like decently ahead. That wasn't his like day job, but somebody else at the poker tournament came up to him and was like, wow, man, I could never do that. You know, I come out behind more times than I come out ahead. But the thing was that the guy talking to him used to go out to like the bar, you know, every weekend and like just keep buying drinks and get really plastered and then like maybe bust up some stuff in the bar brawling with somebody, and then he'd have those damages. And so losing at poker tournaments where he has to not drink and keep his mind sharp, but it keeps him busy. Losing at poker tournaments was had him get ahead of like going out drinking. And I'm like, hey, like
There
if
you
you
go.
figured that out,
Yeah.
like, amen, dude.
Yeah. I don't have one of those minds. I can't. Wow. So, oh man. So back in the heyday, how often did you guys hang out at bars? Because you said you talked
Hardly
about
ever.
a guy.
Oh,
I mean, normally I'm there once a week with my friends. We have a bar that we go to on Thursdays, but it's been less often recently.
When we were in college, we definitely hung out. There was this place. I loved this place. It's closed now. It was called the Cheshire Inn. It was like this little pub that was attached to this this hotel. And this was sort of the separate space. It was partly the event space, but then there was just also like this sort of little English pub. And they were so into the shtick that when you entered the parking lot, you had to drive on the left side of the road, which seems like a terrible idea
Yeah.
for a bar. But
I'm gonna follow up on that one though. Like terrible ideas for bars.
They had like the sort of imperial pint glasses, like the heavy glass ones for beer. They had a lot of British beers on tap, but also cider because at the time I didn't like beer. And when you sat, it was like big leather chairs and like lots of wood and stained glass and fireplaces, and like they'd bring you a little bowl of Gardetto's snack mix as soon as you sat down, which
yeah,
I love that shit. So it was just a really cozy, nice place. That was, I don't know, I really loved hanging out there. There were other places we went, but that's the one that I would be most like, oh, I want to go back there if we go back to St. Louis, but it's closed. I think it's just event space now.
That sounds really cozy and nice. Like, if I ever go to St. Louis, I'll have to, ask you for the name of that bar.
No, that's gone. You can't go there.
Gone.
That's the problem.
Oh.
Although, so we are planning to go to Missouri because, so the eclipse that's happening this spring is going to be the band of totality goes right over my in-laws' house. And the wild thing is, the last eclipse also went right over their house. Which might be me doxing my in-laws a little bit, but the nice thing is, so we have somewhere to stay because trying to go see the eclipse, all the hotels are extremely expensive. The flights are very expensive. I'm not thrilled about that, but this is what we're going to do for spring break is go to Missouri.
Very cool.
Cool.
But the eclipses part is the part I'm really excited about. But we were having this conversation about what restaurants and places do we miss and do we want to go back to, and which of them are still open. So I am hyped to see if some of these places still hold up, because that's the other thing, right? Like, you have the memory has this like glowing, wonderful quality, but what you're remembering is being 22.
Yeah.
And or was that pizza sauce really that amazing? Called Blackthorn Pub, maybe, but they have this like spicy, chunky kind of sauce that I can't stop thinking about. Like, just through my life, I periodically think back to Blackthorn pizza, and I really want to eat it again.
I miss dessert pizza from college.
Dessert pizza.
Ooh.
But it doesn't exist anymore. Like, literally, I've gone back to the same place, and
Oh, they don't do it?
no, they don't do it because it went out of fashion.
Bummer.
There were a bunch of different like local franchises, not national chains, that had dessert pizzas of varying kind, and then I think maybe they weren't selling, and then they all just stopped having them.
Yeah.
Wah wah.
Sad.
That's
I
probably
remember
not
enjoying them.
quite the kind of pizza that you can make in my pizza oven, but I am willing to experiment if you want to come up here.
I mean, I'll look up recipes because I'm really
Neapolitan style dessert pizza.
I've been
I'm
really
down.
jonesing for it.
Let's make it a
so.
party. We'll go to estate sales and make dessert pizzas.
My wife's favorite, like we went to this place and they had a goat cheese and honey pizza that was just like, it was the pizza bread and then it had sprinkling of goat cheese and then it had honey just drizzled all over it, and it was labeled as a dessert pizza, and she's like, I'm just gonna get this every time.
Yeah, that sounds delicious. Add some fig. Oh, so good.
Oh god,
Maybe like a
I love that
pear.
flavor combo.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
Yeah, so like this is Rhiannon was talking about like that poker player who busted stuff up in bars. So there was this bar that I went to, it just opened up, and it had this place that it was known for games. So they had like a lot of beer pong tables, like dart tables and things like that. We had a great time the first time we went, and then later on we went back, and I guess business must have been bad or something because they cleared out some of the areas, and we were just hanging out, and we kept hearing like this like crashing or like like smashing sounds, and we were like, what the heck is going on? So we go into the back, and they had created this area where man, what is that fad called where like you basically pay to smash things, like you
Oh,
go into
yeah.
a room.
I don't know the name
Is there
of
a
it.
name
but-
for it?
I
I
think
know what you're
there is.
talking about.
Yeah,
I think about doing that sometimes.
this bar had it. It had it in the back area. You could grab
Seems
a
like a
bunch
bad
of
thing to have at
drinks.
a bar.
Exactly. So we watched
Yep.
some guy with his sledgehammer like drunkenly like smashing and almost hitting himself or his friend for like 10 seconds, and then his sledgehammer came like way too close to the side that we were in, and so we just noped out afterwards. But it seemed just like the worst idea for a bar.
Apparently,
two
they're called
things.
rage rooms.
That was my
That's what
Rage
Chat said.
rooms.
Okay, so this unlocks another college memory.
Eh.
Have I ever told you guys about playing Stump?
No.
No?
This is the worst, but also funnest drinking game I've ever played. So, you get a stump. So this was for our like going away party. So Kevin and I bought an old mini RV, and we were gonna go drive around the country, and so this was our big like farewell. And we had heard about this game, and we wanted to play. So our friend, but we're in the middle of the city. We don't have a stump, except our friend Nathan went out on a bike ride. Came back with one. I'm still not sure where he found a stump in the middle of downtown St. Louis.
Like a tree stump?
Like a tree stump. So here's what it is. You take a tree stump, and for each person, you get a nail, and you start it. You get it in there. And what you have to do is take a hammer, flip it in the air, and catch it, and then in one motion, hit the nail. If you miss, you have to drink. If you knock the nail out, I think you might have to finish your drink. If you make a spark, everybody drinks.
Wow.
If you drive the nail, if you hit someone else's nail, they have to drink. And if you drive it all the way in, everybody but you has to drink, or something like that. Anyway, should drunk people be throwing hammers? No.
No.
It's fair. It's fair.
That
Yeah.
said, it was a lot of fun. It's a very fun game.
So
Makes you feel better. Bookish Barbarian said that they like axe throwing bars, so there is a
Ooh. I
there
love
is a
axe
worse
throwing.
thing there
I
could
love
be.
axe throwing. Yeah, I've never been to the axe throwing with alcohol, but I have been to axe throwing.
The one near me has alcohol. I mean, they definitely keep an eye on you
Hey.
and have like strict safety rules and stuff. So it's more like, less like college drinking and throwing axes, and more like established tired adult drinking and throwing axes.
Y'all are giving me an idea for a bar, though. It's a normal bar. We just open it up like that. But then it's just like, hey, if you want, after you're done drinking a certain amount, you can attempt our escape room. If you get out of it, we'll pay your tab.
Wow.
Oh my
Then
God.
and the thing is though is that is entertainment for me and the other employees, because we just get to sit there and watch the cameras and laugh at all of them, because we're not going to show it to the customers. They'll get the answers.
True. Yeah, so Aaron, Stump, I'd actually played that in Thailand, but I had no idea that was
Oh,
the name of the
really?
game.
I have
Yeah.
a weird feeling that I have played this, and I don't know where. Like, you were explaining the rules, I'm like, this sounds very familiar, and I have visual memories of where was this?
Yeah, I played this in Thailand. It was one of the games.
It's wildly fun, right?
It was wildly
And
fun, but we were really bad at it.
You
Like,
should not wear open-toed shoes playing it, though.
yeah, we couldn't hit the nail. Like, we were, I don't know, we were
Oh,
too
no.
drunk or we were just bad, but like we kept trying to like, smash it down
Oh.
hard, and we couldn't hit the nail. So finally, one of my friends got frustrated, and he was like, this is impossible. Oh, I think the gimmick was, if you smashed it down, you got the free drink. If you
Oh, nice.
failed, then you have to buy like a second drink. And so, my friend just kept doing it because he was like, "Oh, this is easy. It looks easy." Kept failing. But anyways, he goes to the waitress. He's like, "This is impossible. You do it." She like takes the hammer, looks at him, a single swing, just drives it
Yes.
all the way, just straight into the wood.
Incredible.
this is what I was gonna say. Like, my friend Andrea had done like color guard in high school, so like throwing the flags and the rifles and things. She was very good at it. Like sabers. And so what Andrea would do is she would look at the person she was gonna get, throw the hammer, never break eye contact, and hit their fucking nail.
Oh,
Right? She was terrifying. She was,
mic drop.
she was like,
Oh my god.
Establishing
But yeah.
dominance.
Yeah.
apparently that's if you do color guard, apparently you have the muscle memory to destroy
Dang.
it. I'm gonna run off a little bit early because I'm gonna get myself some hot tea before we start.
No, it's
Yeah, I was
the
gonna
5
say.
minutes anyway. So.
Yeah, 6:25. So we'll be back in a few. Bye.